Okay, and in theory we're live officially this time. Sorry everybody for the repeat live uploads there, but hello everybody and welcome to WordCast number 28. Hopefully this one's working correctly. We've got a lot of news this time. I think I just got an email about it working, so let's hope this is working on YouTube. It's definitely working on Twitch though, as far as I can tell. Let's see here.
Yes, it is, I think.
It's working?
It's saying live now.
Yep. Okay.
Boom.
Okay, cool, it's working. We have this going. Okay, so sorry about that, everybody. That was a little bit annoying. Come on, pause. There we go. Now I can monitor chat. Cool. Yes, we are right. We are finally live. Success. It is working. So hello, everybody. A lot of big news, of course, this week, as you would expect. So basically, AMD Threadripper, as well as RX Vega news, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. But the big stuff is related to AMD, like it has been on every tech podcast for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But hello, we are back to a normal live streaming setup here, and we've also I've got some screen capture software set up so that we can use that now too. So good on us. Good on us.
Oh yeah, this will be nice.
This will be nice.
Yeah, let's just jump right into Threadripper because that's going to be
Threadripper's
a
the
big
big
discussion.
Woof! Okay, so Threadripper is official. It is released. You can pre-order it, correct?
Yes, you can pre-order it.
Yeah, you can pre-order it. The actual release date is going to be August 10th. And August 31st. I'll get to that one in a moment. So a little bit of a surprise actually came out. So we have, instead of just 2 Threadripper chips, like which was kind of initially announced, we actually have 3 Threadripper chips this time around. So we have the 16-core and the 12-core, which everybody expected. That was, the 1950X and the 1920X, 16-core, 12-core, respectively. But they also announced the 1900X, which is an 8-core. And I love the ability for AMD to scale Zen. The Zen architecture, the way that they've been able to scale this, where they can have an 8-core on 3 platforms with 3 completely different sorts of setups. Anyway, though, there is an 8-core that's basically going to allow people that maybe don't necessarily need more CPU power, but they need more PCI Express lanes, so they can have more storage. They just want better motherboards in general. Like, this is something I'm considering going to for my workstation instead of the AM4 socket stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. So anyway, I guess we can just get into prices.
Yeah.
So the pricing is a big deal here. So the 8-core is $550, which yes is a bit expensive, but that's only roughly like $50 to $100 more than the highest clocked 8-core, the 1800X on the AM4 platform. Which is also, what's the chipset name again? I'm having a brain fart.
X370.
X370. I was going to say C370. I'm like, that doesn't exist yet. Anyway, so on X370. And so it's a little bit more, but you're getting more PCI Express lanes. So you have 64 PCI Express lanes instead of, you kind of have 30. You have 24, I think it is, on the standard 8-core platform. Check that for me, but the way X370 works is a little bit weird. But anyway, so you're looking at a $50 premium to support quad channel memory. Yes, that means up to a terabyte of RAM is available if you're using 128 gigabyte DIMMs, and then you're also going to see the 64 PCI Express lanes, which is a big deal for multi-GPU, which is something I actually want to talk about more later. But anyway, so the 8-core 1900X is 3.8 gigahertz base, 4 gigahertz boost. Then for $800, you bump up to the 12-core, so that's $250 more, which really isn't bad for 4 cores.
Oh yeah.
And they're all hyper-threaded cores, so keep that in mind. So the 8-core is 16 threads, the 12-core is 24 threads, and the 16-core is 32 threads. So the 12-core, 3.5 gigahertz base, 4 gigahertz boost. So you're still looking at a 4 gigahertz max frequency on that for $800. Again, quad channel memory, 64 PCI Express lanes. Then $1,000 for the 16-core, 3.4 gigahertz base, 4 gigahertz boost. So you're looking at pretty high base frequencies and really high boost frequencies, and it just shows that Zen is basically capable of sitting at 4 gigahertz.
Yeah.
And we can see 4.1 maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah. And as far as the PCI lanes go, so it's 16 on the processor, and then for X370 it's 8 from the chipset.
Okay, yeah, so 24 total, but some of that's for storage. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I know, Richard, I cannot believe the size of Threadripper either. It is ridiculous. It is massive.
Did you see that Threadripper is going to be shipping with a adapter bracket for certain CPU coolers to work?
I did not see that. That is super cool. Okay, yeah, see if you can find that. So, anyway, Threadripper so far, though, is looking really impressive. So let me get back to my show notes here because I'm a loser and lost them. So, yeah. Again, all have quad channel memory, all have 64 PCI Express lanes. Again, the scalability of Zen is what has impressed me, the way the CCXs work together. So you've got an 8-core on the mainstream platform that has 16 PCI Express lanes and dual channel memory. You have a 8-core on the Enthusiast high-end desktop HEDT platform that has 64 PCI Express lanes and quad channel memory. And you have an 8-core, again, on the server EPYC-based stuff, and I think that's still using the TR4 socket, which I'll get to in a moment, that has 128 PCI Express lanes and 8 channels of memory. Is it 8? EPYC is 8-channel, not 6-channel, right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so 8-channel memory. So you're looking at the scalability of what they're able to do with it. They're able to tack on these add-ons, like, oh, here's a little more PCI Express lanes, here's a little more memory, and we'll put it on the chip. There you go. You pay a little premium for it, but it's this modular aspect to their architecture and the way that their CCXs work together, that they can dynamically use them to adjust PCI Express lanes and memory count for how many cores you have is really impressive. And also 64 PCI Express lanes on a high-end desktop platform.
Yeah, that is going to be fantastic.
That's a big deal for anybody on the high-end desktop because you're looking at people that want multiple GPUs, multiple high-end NVMe SSDs, and all kinds of other crap that they're going to be adding to it. And so anyway, the socket name is TR4, so to go along with AM4, TR4, so it should be fairly easy to remember. Thank goodness they named it TR4 and not like TR1 or something, because it is the first TR socket as far as I understand. The platform's called X399. There's already like one board from each vendor, and it looks like they're focusing very heavily on high-end boards, which they should be, but it doesn't look like X299, like Intel's platform, where there are some more budget-oriented boards either. This is like, this is the high-end. If you want the budget boards, you've got to go to AM4. Then we're not going to waste our time making shitty, cheap-ass boards for this high-end platform.
Now, I bet we'll see, not anytime soon, but probably a few months from now, we'll see more niche boards, like something like how we saw the crazy, 12 graphics card slots for mining? That type of thing?
Yeah.
We'll see some stuff like that for very specific purposes that can take advantage of the insane amount of PCI lanes at a lower cost, because they'll only be used for, they might need to bump it up to make money because they won't be selling as much, but with less features that you don't need for anyone else.
So I'm impressed with what they're doing.
And then the Threadripper CPUs come with an Exynetek liquid cooling retention kit.
Okay, so that's for all the Exynetek coolers, which is Corsair,
NZXT,
Cooler Master, NZXT.
Yeah,
all of the main AIOs.
The Kraken X62, X52, and X61s are compatible with Threadripper.
Okay. Unfortunately, it looks like my old X60 isn't, but I'm surprised that thing hasn't sprung a leak or died yet. It's sitting in my server running, I don't really expect it to leak, but I expect the pump to go out at some point. 6 years later we are, or whatever, it's still freaking running.
Yeah.
NZXT knows.
And then we have pricing on Noctua's coolers for Threadripper.
Okay.
They range from $69 US to $79.
That is awesome.
So
that is awesome.
There's 3 models. 2 of them are 69. 1 of them is 79.
Well, I'm reading through the comments here really quick because we have a couple people asking some questions here. So first off, Justin is asking, how do we think Intel is going to make a comeback against Threadripper? They already have. It's just not out yet. They're not going to do anything different. Intel's been sitting on a monopoly for so long. I don't think they really even care about doing.
It's going to take them a few years to come out
before they really start really competing. They're not going to lower the prices. They're not going to change the prices of their already X299 stuff that's been announced. It's going to be the same stuff. It's just a matter is, can they get the clock speeds up? AMD's modular architecture has allowed them to very easily expand the clock speeds because it's not one monolithic die. It's multiple dies put together. When you're looking at one monolithic die, which is what Intel is doing, it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to be able to, on their 16-core, hit anything higher than 3 gigahertz base, to be honest.
And then to respond to Justin's mention of how they've likely had the blueprints for years and that, look at how fast Coffee Lake came out. There's been rumors of a 6-core from Intel for years now.
Yeah, correct. Intel's been working. They've probably had it ready and just were like, we'll release it when AMD releases something or when we need to. I'm sure that Intel could have done a 6-core a long time ago on the mainstream. Well, we know they could have.
Yeah.
As to Justin's also saying what type of architecture they're going to use, like a modular system or something. Intel kind of is. We talked about that in one of our previous podcasts about Xeon Scalable.
Yeah.
And that is
50 CPUs.
Yeah, they had 50. No, it was 56 different CPUs. I believe that released 56
like that.
different SKUs of CPUs released in different tiered platforms. But basically, it's designed to be a scalable architecture, but it's not really exactly modular like this. NVIDIA, however, has taken note of a modular die design and figured out that we talked about that in that same podcast. I believe it was. I think that was episode 27. Maybe it was 26.51 or whatever, because we had all those failed ones. But anyway, one of our podcasts previously we talked about that too, where NVIDIA has actually thought about basically putting dies together in unison instead of using one monolithic die. They'd be able to get better performance out of the same physical size GPU. So I think this is something that Intel needs to look at, and maybe they will respond with something modular in the future, but right now, the way that they're set up is not built for that.
Yeah.
Not at all. So, I also want to say, Richard, yes, I love the sliding guide that's used on the TR4 socket. So the TR4 socket, which is for X399 and the EPYC platform, which I don't remember the chipset name for the EPYC stuff, but it is actually a really unique mechanism in comparison to what most of the previous mechanisms have been for mounting the CPU in the socket itself. So what you actually do is, let me see if I can find an image of it actually to show you here.
Now that we can do that.
Yes, now that I have this set up properly, let me see if I can find a picture of what this beautiful retention kit thing looks like. TR4 socket. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
Try harder.
I gotta be more of a try hard. So you basically slide the CPU down in it, and then you shut it and you screw it down. I'm not really able to get much here when it comes to the actual sliding it in mechanism, but I can show you what the socket itself looks like. So here, this is on Asus, or ROG Asus 4. Putting the CPU and mounting it down in there, so you don't have to worry as much about damaging it under pressure. Because part of the problem with LGA sockets, land grid arrays, where the pins are in the motherboard, is if you put the CPU in the wrong orientation and you close it and you put too much pressure on it, which a lot of them have the pressure, you'll smash the pins or break the CPU. And that's what can happen on Intel ones. It's not very likely, but some people that don't know what they're doing maybe don't know how to get it seated in there properly, and so it's up on the pins incorrectly. They put this massive pressure from the retention kit on top of it, and you're done. And you would think screws can have a lot of pressure too, and this is true, but it's really hard to mess this one up because of the way the CPU slides down in the mechanism and then shuts, so it is already aligned and then just shuts on top. It's not like Intel where you got to drop it in the right direction, or even AM4, but AM4 is using a PGA, pin grid array setup, so it'll only go in a certain direction. You can't force it in unless you really put pressure on it, and it sticks up so far you would know if you put it in the wrong direction. So let's see. Yeah, Justin, definitely a little scary with all those pins. Yeah, so there's a lot of pins, 4,096 pins on the TR4 socket, but it allows it to do a lot of really good stuff. So, I mean, I think it's just, it's a lot of pins. You got to be careful, but you need to be careful either way. This makes it even harder to fuck up those pins, and so hopefully you put your CPU in and you're good, and you just don't take it back out unless you're upgrading or something. The chances of ruining them are low. So, I mean, people don't honestly bend pins that much on boards. From what I know, a lot of times it's actually the pins on the CPUs that people end up bending if it is a PGA setup, because they set the CPU down or something and it gets smushed, it bumps into something. So I think having it on the board, generally you're more careful with a giant piece of hardware.
Yeah.
So, okay, so sale. So it comes out on, the 1920X and the 1950X, so the 12 and 16 core respectively, come out on August 10th. That has been, I think the reviews will probably be out a little bit before that, but that's when you'll actually, have them. People will own them. It's super awesome. But the 1900X, the 8 core, comes out on August 31st. So you can tell that was a little bit later in the thinking for Threadripper. But I think AMD probably realized, oh, we need something to fill the gap here. And I think one of the biggest complaints about the X370 platform for using the 8 cores there, it's like 8 cores is great and you can do serious work on 8 cores. A lot of people don't need more than that. I don't need more than that personally. I want more than that, but I don't need more than that. And so the problem I run into, though, is I don't really want to go to X370 due to the lack of multiple M.2 NVMe SSDs going through the PCI Express bus, due to the lack of really being able to do more than 2 GPUs. Again, more about multi-GPU stuff coming up here soon. So that's kind of why I think it's really smart of AMD to be putting an 8-core here is, hey, you want the premium platform with the 8-core, which Intel offers an 8-core on the premium platform. Here you go. You spend an extra probably $300 total to get the CPU with the more lanes and the memory, as well as getting the high-end motherboards.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything to comment? Oh, 180 watt TDP on the 2 high-end parts. Don't really know the TDP of the 8-core, but probably the same as the 1700 or 1800X.
Yeah, I feel like I saw it in a video, but
okay, not sure here.
All in all, I'm really excited for it. I mean, I just bought Ryzen, so I'm not going to upgrade, but it will be something I look at if I ever build a.
Okay, yeah. So the 8-core, 95 watt TDP for the X370 platform. So maybe a little higher, might be like 105 watts for it on the X399 platform. But
yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, I really also I just love the idea of that many PCI lanes. There's so much flexibility with that.
It's so good, and I really just like that AMD is finally reaching out into the high-end platform, and they're slaughtering Intel on this high-end platform right now. And yes, you can argue that Intel still is going to have something with 2 more cores. Who knows when we'll actually see it. And you can argue that Intel does have better single-core performance, but there's another aspect that you have to look into that. It depends on if the X299 chipset and VRM setup there can actually deliver enough power to get good clock speeds out of their 12 and above core.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at a 16 or an 18 core, but it's 3 gigahertz base, 3.4 gigahertz boost, and overclocking is incredibly challenging on it, or if, say, they don't solder the IHS to the actual die itself, they're using some bad TIM, you're going to run into a situation where AMD will still win on the single core. So it just depends on what Intel's able to do there. But there is the truth, if you want the best of the best of the best, yeah, you'd probably go with the 18-core from Intel, or even the 16-core if you're really looking for higher IPC, instructions per clock, and probably higher clock speeds. I assume we're going to be able to overclock them higher, but that just depends if Intel makes any big mistakes or not.
If you want to go ahead and answer, Justin asked about what setups we have.
Okay, here. What systems are we running? Okay, so, yeah, okay, cool. I'm glad you saw the ultra-wide review. I've got a lot of subs from that, actually, so thank you for checking out that video and subbing to that. That is my most viewed video. I'm very proud of it. So, and real quick, before I tell you my setup, there's going to be very consistent content on here starting within a couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of background stuff to get more things ready for the channel. I'm getting some lighting. I've been rebuilding the website, getting a new logo, things like that. So just FYI. So anyway, though, as for my setup personally, I have 3 systems currently, not including the Dell XPS that you're looking at. So my main system that I do my editing and my gaming on is actually a laptop. It's the Sager NP9872. I've done some upgrades and stuff to it, but it's running a desktop 6700K at stock clock, so 4 gigahertz base, 4.5 boost. It is running a NVMe Intel 600p 256 gig SSD and a GTX 1070 desktop 1070 running at also stock desktop clocks. So it is a total beast. The reason I got it actually when I bought it at the time, which was back in October, I think it was.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, back in October when I purchased it, the whole idea behind getting that machine was I was going places consistently where I'd stay multiple days. That since then isn't really happening, so I'm going back to a desktop and it's going to be my mobile machine. But at the time, it just made sense for me. But I use it as a desktop here at home and then take it with me places. It's also got 40 gigabytes of RAM, two 2 terabyte Seagate Barracuda 2.5-inch drives in RAID 0 for a good game performance time, as well as I edit my Cineform footage off of that, and it's pretty quick. But I'm looking eventually to get more SSDs and stuff, but I'm just going to do that in a workstation build that I have upcoming probably in like 2 or 3 months. Then my other build is I have a server that is running multiple game servers, like my Minecraft server and an Arc server I'm about to set up. It's my storage server, my Plex Media server, and several other things like that. And so that's running an FX 6300 along with 32 gigabytes of RAM and let me think, a 256 gig SSD. I can't even remember what brand. It was just generic because I didn't need it to be ridiculous. 2 4 terabyte hard drives in that are mirrored for all of my video backups, and then 2 1 terabyte hard drives that are mirrored for like movie storage and music storage, just media basically.
Yeah.
So I got that. Then my final system is my first Ryzen build actually is my rendering server. So I have a server that I set up that I do network-based rendering for because I hate not being able to use my PC. I like to play games or work on another project or something like that while I'm rendering. So my render server, which I'll have a video on it really soon actually, but my render server is running a 1600 or is it 1600? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 1600 6-core. I'm going to be overclocking that soon. 32 gigs of RAM on that. Might be upgrading to 64 later depending on what kind of bottlenecks there are. It's got a Blu-ray drive for Blu-ray disc copies and stuff like that. And it's also got 120 gig SSD. So it's a pretty simple system. It's mostly for raw CPU power. I'm upgrading it to an 8-core soon, moving that 6-core into my storage server. So I have a lot of plans. But yeah, there will be a dedicated video on my render server soon. I've actually been waiting because I finally just got a adapter to adapt the liquid cooler that I have to the server, and I wanted that to be in my build video for it. So I've been waiting on that. I finally have it so I can put it together. So probably next week or the week after is when that video will be up.
Yeah.
That was a lot, so I'm sorry. That was off subject, but boom. And yes, Richard says 40 gigs of RAM. That's insane. Yeah, it's quite a bit of RAM, but let me tell you right now. Actually, hey, Calvin, since you're over there, open up Task Manager. It's already loaded. Tell me how much RAM I'm using right now. And I am just, this is my normal use. It's not gaming. It's not streaming. It's not rendering. My video programs aren't open. This is the system that's doing all the work right now. So the system sitting over there, how much am I at?
17.5.
17.5 gigabytes. So that tells you how much of a tab whore I am and an application whore I am.
He literally has more pinned tabs on his computer than I ever have tabs open.
I have like 17 pinned tabs.
I have a lot of tabs.
I have like
open.
17 pinned tabs. Like, I literally right now, over there, including the streams too, I probably have like 54 tabs open. But I use them all. They're all for memory. So that's part of why. So when I start editing, and if I have a game running in the background, 40 gigs starts to become a limit. I actually, in my workstation build that's coming up, I'm going to be doing 64 gigs. Yes, Richard, Chrome loves RAM. Oh my goodness, yep. Chrome loves RAM.
Yeah.
But so does Adobe. I mean, I'll commonly use like 15 gigabytes of RAM doing just Premiere editing, like not even rendering. So. Oh,
and After Effects is even worse with RAM. Jesus. I've done
exactly. Yeah. So that's another reason I've been thinking about going with X399 instead of X370. Not only the NVMe support, but the extra RAM. Because if I start doing a lot of After Effects, 64 is going to start to be a limit again. Yeah. So.
See, so for my system, I have a 1600X. I only have 16 gigs of RAM right now, but that's in part because RAM prices are ridiculous.
They're so, oh my goodness. I almost cried when I ordered 32 gigs for my Ryzen system, but I was like, I need that for the rendering.
Yeah, so for anyone that's looking at getting a Ryzen, by the way, I do not recommend buying the 1600X. Save some money, buy the 1600, and then overclock it.
Yeah.
The reason that I went with the 1600X was that at the time of purchase, the best deal I could find with the motherboard that I already wanted was a bundle with Newegg that saved me about $20 to get the 1600X over the 1600.
Yeah, the thing is, the hidden thing about AMD is 99% of the time you can overclock their base models to their higher end models.
Yeah.
Basically what you're paying for is you're paying for A, out of the box performance. You don't have to do any work. You're paying for B, performance that might use a little bit less power, be a little more stable. Like you might have like say you had a really low end board, you're more likely to have those clock speeds be fine than if you were overclocking. And you're also paying for the R&D to make sure it's stable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then I have a 970 for my graphics card. I'm probably going to wait until the 11 series from NVIDIA comes out.
And the 970 is still a monster. It's so good.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, what I would like to do is get a new graphics card for my desktop. And then what I'm working on with the previous hardware that I had is I'm putting that into what will be both a HTPC and a NAS.
Right.
And so I'm going to have tons of media and stuff on there, but I also want to be able to use that computer for VR, and I'm going to have it out in the living room so that if I have people over and I want them to be able to try out the Oculus Rift, they can hook it up super easily. It's already out there. I don't have to move my computer from room to room.
Yeah, exactly. I think multi-purpose systems is the way to go, too.
Yeah.
That's why I have my server doing so much stuff.
Yeah, and right now I'm just running a 2560 by 1080 ultra wide at 60 hertz, so I'm good. I mean, and if I play Overwatch, it's not like I can use ultra wide.
Anyway. I mean, I really like my 1070 versus the 970 that I had, but I wouldn't be disappointed if I had a 970 at all. Yeah, Justin says, yeah, he's a digital artist and uses the Adobe Suite. Yeah, RAM usage is absolutely ridiculous on it, which I actually like, though. I mean, if you're going to make, it's not really like a problem. It's just that it fundamentally makes the program function better. It makes things smoother. It just means that you need to have a system capable. Yeah. So, and I can understand that. That is why I have so much RAM.
Yeah. Oh, and then for the motherboard, I have the ASRock Killer SLI/AC, which is only available on Newegg.
The best motherboard ever.
As far as what you can buy for.
Yeah, I know. It's actually not bad. No, I know.
It's really solid.
Because the names are just starting to oh man, they're starting to bother me.
SLI/ACE,
like it's bad. It's really bad.
But
let's be honest.
It's got AC Wi-Fi. It's got Bluetooth, both of which I wanted in a motherboard if I could get it. And it's using the M.2 Wi-Fi.
That's
chip.
right.
So I can upgrade it. It's using an Intel.
My bad. Sorry, guys.
It's using an Intel Wi-Fi card. So when Bluetooth 5 comes, or when wireless AD or whatever's coming next comes out, I can just buy a new chip, put it in there, and I'm upgraded.
Right. So smart.
Yeah. I doubt I'm gonna upgrade to AD though. It doesn't really.
It's not useful for most people. Like, it'd be useful if you really hate wires and you're not willing to make your own Ethernet cables, like I did here. Like, it'd be useful from like a server to a server, which I'm having another server soon.
The only Wi-Fi upgrade I'm really interested in, they said it was coming soon, and then it's been like over a year and we haven't heard anything. Was Halo for IoT?
Yeah. That's definitely an interesting thing. Okay, well, do you want to jump into some more AMD news?
Vega!
We've got like an hour and 20 minutes still, so it's okay that we're going off subject. So, RX Vega, not Vega Frontier Edition.
I didn't say Frontier.
I know, but you said just Vega,
Yeah.
So the RX Vega officially... official announcements about RX Vega, its official specs, the official SKUs, etc. are out. Now, there's 2 different versions technically, but kind of 3. So we've got Vega 64 and Vega 56 are the 2 main different variants. Vega 64 has 4096 stream processors and 8 GB of HBM2. Whereas Vega 56 has 3,585 stream processors and 8 GB of HBM2. So yes, they're using HBM, which is probably part of where the cost of this comes from, which I'll get to in a bit. But, it's kind of what we expected. I don't think we really expected to see a Vega 56. We were just expecting the 64, so it's cool to see 2 versions of it. It's just a cut down of the same chip, obviously.
There was rumors of a second, slightly lower end card. I just don't think we expected it at launch, especially. That's
AMD a lot of times doesn't do it at launch. Yeah. So I don't know. It's good.
It's pretty uncommon to see from even NVIDIA that we see a high end and low end launch at the same time.
Yeah.
You might see them announced at the same time, but they don't generally come out anywhere near.
Right, exactly, totally. So it's cool to see though. I'm
and
quite
I think
excited.
Both of these are coming out the same day.
Here, I'm trying to find a quality picture to show you guys what they actually look like as we go through them. Here, I found one. I'll switch to that in a moment. But first, I want to go over a little bit more specs. So, let's see here. So we're looking at a couple different variants of each of these. So we got Vega 64 comes in both a liquid-cooled and an air-cooled limited edition version. The limited edition is exactly how it sounds. It's basically the first people to order will end up getting them. Whenever they run out, they run out. The limited edition is gorgeous. I'll show you that in a moment. But anyway, Vega 64 liquid-cooled is basically, it looks like the limited edition version with the liquid cooler coming out of it. And that is going to be running at 1677 megahertz, which is a pretty high clock for AMD. They don't tend to go as high as NVIDIA on clock speeds, so it's kind of cool to see them reaching up there. 13.7 teraflops of peak floating point 32 processing. So that is interesting to see. Here, let me find what the Titan XP, the new one, does in teraflops, because I can't remember.
Keep in mind, though, that teraflops
does not equate to gaming performance.
Well, not even that. The performance you see from an NVIDIA card with equivalent teraflops to an AMD card is quite a large difference.
It depends on what you're doing. It just depends on what you're doing, because like if you flops are flops, and it's just a matter of like server-based stuff that's taking full advantage of floating point 32. You can compare them directly that way.
Yeah,
you can't compare workstation stuff. You can't compare gaming stuff.
Well, if you're looking at let's say you're looking at I'm just going to use 10 as an example.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a 10 teraflop NVIDIA card and a 10 teraflop AMD card, gaming wise,
Yep.
they will be nothing alike.
Yeah, exactly, totally. So
Like I think that like some of the consoles from like that run AMD hardware have more teraflops than pretty decent NVIDIA cards, yet don't perform anywhere near the same level.
nowhere near. Okay, so keep that in mind. But the Titan XP is 12 teraflops. So we're already beating it. That's with the liquid cooled edition, though. Vega 64 air cooled is running at 1546 megahertz boost. I don't have the base clocks listed here. If you can find them, that'd be super cool. But 12.66 teraflops. So we're still above what the Titan XP can do, which is still a good reason to go with this if you're doing a lot of like server stuff. I'm actually more excited about Vega for server than I am for gaming or workstation tasks. For workstation is pretty good too, but I'm more excited for the server stuff in specific, and I'll get to that in a little bit.
For Vega 64 air cooled, we're looking at base of 1247.
1247 on the air-cooled Vega 64. Okay, cool. So base megahertz, so base clock speed.
Vega 56 is 1156 megahertz, and then liquid-cooled Vega 64 is 1406.
Okay, cool. Good to know. So then there's also the Vega 56 running at 1471 megahertz with 10.5 teraflops. That's pretty high there too. Again, none of this equates to gaming performance directly. Wait for the benchmarks on that to come out. You cannot compare the floating point operations per second between multiple architectures. It doesn't work that way. As far as I understand, you can compare them directly on a lot of server tasks. Not all, but a lot, if I remember correctly. So, anyway, here's the fun part, the TDP. So, we're looking at 295 watt TDP for the air and liquid-cooled Vega 64. That is really high when you compare it to the 1080. Now, the 1080 Ti, the 1080, which it's meant to compete with, at 180 watts. Now, of course, a lot of consumers, gamers especially, and workstation users especially, don't care about wattage. But server stuff, which I feel Vega's even better at for server, they do actually care. Because all of a sudden, you've got 100 GPUs, you're looking at massive price differences in the amount of electricity you're paying. But of course, it depends how much you're saving on the GPUs themselves too. Now, I don't know.
This continues the trend that especially NVIDIA fanboys love to reiterate of AMD being space heater, because it's going to generate a lot more heat than the
now TDP doesn't always equate directly to heat, but yes, but it will be more. And the thing that's crazy about this is like I am all for companies, especially AMD. I've always thought they were one to do this. Balls to the wall. You just, hey, we don't really care about TDP. We're looking for performance. But what I mean when I say that is I want to see a 300 watt TDP card that stomps the Titan X into the ground. Not a 300 watt TDP card that can barely beat a 1080 sometimes. That's half the wattage. Like that starts to be the issue with me. I don't. That's what's frustrating. Is the power efficiency does matter. I don't mind high power consumption. I mind high power or problems with power efficiency. So low power efficiency. Now Vega 56 is a little bit better with a 210 watt TDP. Nobody's tested these cards yet, so take this with a grain of salt. This could be a little bit different. But I remember some reports about the Vega Frontier Edition card. When people were overclocking it, they were seeing upwards of 400 watts from the card.
Wasn't it
and
like
that's
just
pretty
minor small increases?
It was like under 100
80
megahertz.
Watt bumps,
Yeah, it was massive. I mean, you're talking like a watt per megahertz, maybe more. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah, so I really hope that they have that figured out for RX.
The overclocking.
I doubt it, but I really hope.
Yeah. So we're looking at high TDPs, guys, and that's okay. It's just the performance is a little bit disappointing here from what we know of FE. Of course, it's not out yet. There are drivers. There is the tile-based rasterization engine.
And we're starting to get a lot of reports of games that are going to be using floating point 16 for...
Which it's really good at. They call that half precision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and half precision AMD's architecture is really good at. And so, yeah, it's interesting to see what's going to happen because it also depends on game optimization. A year from now, Vega may be a whole different story in how powerful it is versus the 10 series compared to right now. Like right now, a lot of titles might be kind of trashy price to performance ratios. So, I'd like to get into something here though. So, it competes directly with the 1080, the Vega 64 does. Pricing is the hard part here. Oh, let me actually show you guys a picture of the three cards. manufacturers. So yeah, but it looks good. Now I wanted to see the where was it? Some of the I'm losing my train of thought, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't even remember what I was looking for.
Okay, I'll talk about price while you do that then.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Price.
Okay. I have pulled up.
Okay, cool. Good.
So what we're looking at for price, there's two separate tiers for looking at price. If you're just buying the graphics card, the Vega 56 is $399.
I mean, you compare that to a 1070.
Yeah.
It is less than a 1070.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes. Depends on sales and stuff like that, but it is technically less than a 1070.
We'll see how performance is. We'll see how add-in board cards are going to be, because they could be doing what they sometimes do and having it as low as possible for their reference design.
Yes.
And then the add-in boards will be $50 to $100
Yeah,
more.
exactly. What excites me, though, about this MSRP, is, so even though it's high TDP, Vega 56... probably, because we know Vega 64, from what we've seen from the Frontier Edition, which will only get better, can beat a 1070 almost all the time. So I'm hoping 56 can barely beat it almost all the time.
So it mutes us when you switch to screen cap.
It mutes us when we switch to screen cap.
Yes.
Oh.
So no more screen cap for the rest of the show.
I'm sure I can fix it, but not right this second. I'm sorry, guys. Apparently my audio is messed up. I could fix it really fast. Let me fix it.
Switch to screen
cap. 1 second. Let me just unmute that. Okay, apparently the Elgato... Okay, I'm switching back now. It's being weird. Okay, guys, you should be able to hear us now. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Thank you guys for mentioning that in the chat. So I'll turn it back. Hopefully it's actually working now, but I'll show you guys a picture again of what it looks like.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, here, I'm gonna switch it back. Tell me if you guys still can't hear it on the screen cap, okay? Okay, I hope you can still hear it. So
they said it worked.
Okay, good. So this is what it looks like here, guys. So what I was showing you, so you kind of, I won't leave it on here for too long because you guys already saw it. But yeah, so I'm really excited for the 3 designs here. I think it's awesome. Again, Vega 56 will look the same as Vega 64. That's what I was trying to say earlier. So I'm not going to show a separate picture for that.
Back to pricing. So we're looking at $399 for the Vega 56. $499 for the Vega 64 air-cooled. So about the same price as a entry level on, decent pricing 1080.
Yeah,
which isn't surprising because it's expected to compete with the 1080.
I have a feeling AMD's making very little profit on these.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that they're set they would go lower on the prices if they could. I don't think they can.
If anything, I wonder if they're trying. If one of the reasons they're doing that, and one of the reasons they're pushing HBM2 on this, is to increase manufacturing to bring down the cost for future cards.
AMD's been known to do things like that. AMD has been known to make business decisions that hurt them for the greater good of computing. Yeah. They've been known to do stuff like that. And hurt them in the
short term to benefit them dramatically.
Yeah, exactly. And so I would not be surprised if the whole point was, it's going to cost us a buttload of money and we could use GDDR5X, but we want HBM to be the thing. We're heavily invested in HBM already, so it kind of makes sense for them to want it to be the thing anyway.
And now is kind of the best time for them to do that because they have the hype of Ryzen and Threadripper and Epic to pull them forward while they spend all this money on their GPUs. And then they can get Navi out, and boom.
And that's the whole idea here. I don't think Vega, as an architecture, was ever meant to really necessarily blow the socks off of NVIDIA. It was meant as kind of a catch-up step, not in efficiency, but kind of a catch-up step in performance. And it was also, I think, meant as a architectural change that is really good, not necessarily meaning that it's refined anywhere near enough to be an actual really good chip itself, but the architecture design, the tile-based rasterization engine, the way it functions with HBM, the higher clock speeds that we're able to see, then they refine that for Navi using the same architectural improvements that they've had, and Navi kicks ass. Yeah. And that's what I'm actually expecting myself to have happen. Continue with pricing, though. So you already have the 2 GPUs separately,
So those will probably sell out within 5 seconds of being on sale because miners. Because of that, AMD has another option. It's a $100 price increase, so the Vega 56 will be $499 for this bundle. The 64 air-cooled will be $599, and then if you want the liquid-cooled, You can only get that right now as part of the bundle for $6.99. What these bundles include is, first off, 2 free games. It will vary by country, but in the United States, you're looking at Wolfenstein 2 and Prey.
Yep, both big and good games.
No matter where you get these, you're looking at $60 games. So you're looking at $120 US value. So ultimately, if you want those 2 games, that bundle has already paid for its increase itself.
Yep.
And it's decentivized miners from buying it, because unless they want the games, they're paying extra money.
Yep.
So
I think it's a sensible package.
Yeah.
Continue though. Yeah.
On top of that, you get $100 off of a Ryzen 7 CPU and a motherboard.
Bundle.
Yes.
Together, yeah. So not separately. You can't.
Yeah.
Bundle.
Well, I'm
you
gonna explain
bundle.
something else about that in a second. And you get you get $200 off of a FreeSync enabled monitor. Now, with that being said, for both the monitor and the computer hardware bundle, you have to buy them in the same transaction. You do not get like an emailed coupon code that you can use later. You can't save it. So if you want to, let's say you want to buy a graphics card and a monitor, but you wanted to buy the monitor later, you can't get the discount. You have to buy it in the same transaction.
It's all packaged together. And that's sensible. That's sensible because, they do that because it's not... That miners aren't going to do it. Mm-hmm. Miners don't want games. They don't want a processor that's high-end.
Yeah.
Or has Ryzen 7 in specific. They didn't choose Ryzen 5, or Ryzen 3.
Yeah.
It's a Ryzen 7 discount in specific, and they don't care about a monitor.
Yeah.
So that's really going to help, I think, with the cryptocurrency stuff, is it's going to be... what's the pricing for the packages?
Oh, it's a $100 increase over the cards, so I already mentioned that. But
and then the liquid-cooled one only comes in the package,
correct.
Right? Okay, yeah. You can't buy the liquid-cooled one separately yet. So it's only going to come in the highest end package, which is $6.99.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea behind this because it's like, okay, you know what?
I just wish you could buy the monitor later because I am considering...
The monitor's a lot of money.
I am considering this card, and it would be nice... I would probably do it if I could do it and then get a FreeSync monitor later.
Yeah. That
$200 off would be fantastic, but...
Yep.
Can't do it, so... Yep. Gotta
but
love miners.
there are some pretty cheap FreeSync monitors.
Yeah. But I would rather, if I'm going to be buying a new graphics card, I'm going to get a better monitor.
Yeah, right, that's true. Okay, so a few things here. I have a few comments I want to reply to. So first, Justin talks about how aftermarket card manufacturers will do whatever they want with the price. This is true, but it's usually not too significant of an increase because people will not spend ridiculous amounts of money for a slightly better card.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense for the really top tier cards, like when you look at like the Kingpin on NVIDIA's side from EVGA, like people will pay an extra $200 or $300 for that, but people will not pay an extra $200 or $300, for a high-end or a fairly high-end cooler when they can get the reference one for $200 or $300 less, unless they're doing special overclocking and stuff like that. So I don't think that that's really going to be too much of a problem. I think they're going to be like $30 to $50 more, honestly. Plus, those companies, they get discounts on the actual chip itself, the GPU core. So, go ahead.
Oh, pertaining to your mention, Richard's mention of he's not sure if miners will want Vega because of the higher TDP. Well, that could be true. The other thing to take into account is higher TDP can be made up for by increased performance, and since this is a better compute card
than a gaming card,
the compute gains are a lot better than the gaming gains.
Yep. That's where a lot of it comes from for gaming too. With AMD is just figuring out how to transport that high compute power to actually function in a game. They can make
great compute cards.
Yeah, their cards aren't bad performing. They don't game that well.
Yeah.
They're not bad performing.
Yeah, whereas NVIDIA does a really good job of making gaming cards and then separately making compute cards.
Yeah, NVIDIA is very good at separating those things, and a lot of that is driver optimization and other stuff like that. I also wanted to talk about how... Richard mentions that, demand will be high for AMD fans. So, so that's actually something to consider. So this is still a high-end card. This is still performing in the high-end market. It's not performing in the mid-range market like AMD's previous top-end stuff like the RX 580. So when you look at enthusiasts, and when enthusiasts are willing to buy, enthusiasts oftentimes have brand loyalty or are just interested in something, and enthusiasts don't oftentimes care about power. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vega actually sells pretty well because they go, hey, I'm spending about the same amount of money as I spent on like 1080, for example, getting about the same performance, but I get to say I'm getting it out of AMD, I'm doing something unique here, and it's a special feeling. Like you want to support the company, you like them as a company, even if you're not company biased, like you have a favorite, but you just like their company and the way they function better. Go buy the card. You're spending the same amount of money as long as you don't care about power consumption, which enthusiasts a lot of times don't.
Yeah.
you're getting almost identical performance, and you get to support Team Red instead, right? So it's like, I think it's still going to sell really well because it is an enthusiast-oriented card. If you had these kind of TDP problems and stuff like that on a mid-ranger, that'd be a big problem.
Yeah.
But for enthusiasts, they're not going to care as much.
It's really gonna. I feel like with this card, nobody's really seeing this and like. I mean, sure, some people are against it, but nobody's really like super against it or super for it. This is going to be one of those few cards that's really going to come down to reviews.
Yeah,
How well
exactly. Because it's really hard to judge.
Do reviewers like it?
Yeah, it's really hard to judge right now. And again, like the performance increase that we can see, it could be, in the range of 10 to 20% from drivers, game optimization. Actually, in the future, we could even see up to a 30% gain. I would estimate with really properly AMD optimized games, which is going to take AMD dumping some money into the devs.
Yeah.
But looking into just the few things that AMD controls, such as drivers, as well as the higher clock speeds, as well as the tile-based rasterization engine and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 10, maybe 15% performance improvement over FE, which would be a pretty big deal, honestly. That would be a pretty big deal. So I think that would help push AMD really, really up there. They're going to be above a 1080 for the same price.
Yeah.
Now, and the thing to keep in mind, NVIDIA's architecture is overclocked like monsters, though.
Yeah.
And AMD, we'll see. It depends on the power delivery. Like, if we have, like, triple 8-pin, imagine triple 8-pin on a card, maybe you can pump 600 watts into it and dominate a 1080 Ti. Maybe you can. Maybe you can hit 2 gigahertz on these. You just really need a good liquid cooler and really need a good power supply. So it's something to keep in mind.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, ultimately, AMD needs to do really well in the GPU market as soon as possible.
Yes.
Because let's look at Intel versus NVIDIA.
Right.
Intel stock is like, what, a third of NVIDIA's? And Intel's been considered the only processor company for a while, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas, sure, NVIDIA is vastly preferred, especially, I mean, it's more so a bigger, they're more so a bigger presence in, like, server market and stuff.
Right.
But, like, even at consumer level, like, AMD's never done great, but they've always done decent. They've always held, like, what, a 20-ish% market share?
It's been between 20 and 50, but generally more in, like, the like 20 to 35 range. Yeah. But it hasn't been 0%, like the server market for
well, like,
CPUs.
just overall for processors, AMD was at, like, 1%. And Intel, being at 99%, they had, like,
They were at less than 1%. It rounded to 0. Intel literally had what would mathematically be 100% of the server chip market.
Yeah. And they have like a $30 stock, whereas NVIDIA is well over $100.
Yeah, and the thing to consider too is when it comes to AMD and their CPU chips, especially in the server market, they have nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
They can't really go down anymore, whereas their GPUs are still at risk. And I don't want to see their GPU market fall, but I think this is going to help with enthusiasts and with just kind of bringing them back, and being more relevant. Which, let's be honest, though, Polaris, like the RX 580, is not bad.
Yeah.
It really isn't bad.
Polaris has better IPC than Vega.
Yeah, it does.
Just
Again,
IPC.
that's why I think the whole idea behind Vega, there's no way Vega could literally be worse than Polaris, which it seems like it is. The whole idea behind it is an architectural change that's better for the future. I really do strongly feel that. I have no way to properly back that up. I don't know enough about architectural design, and I don't talk to Raja directly. But
why not? We need to get.
I know we need to get Raja on the show, right? So we can have 5 people watch him. But
That
anyway,
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, EK is releasing full cover water blocks for RX Vega,
which is exciting because I would love to see what like 620 millimeter fan equivalent radiator setup and push pull with the GPU. Go ahead and link me that. I'll put it up on the stream here. But I would love to see like a triple 8-pin card or something like that. So here, let me go ahead and go to this, guys, so you guys can see it. It's in the EK blog. Hold on, I'm letting it load before I actually switch. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. I think you guys will really, really appreciate that. I mean, EK always does a good design, but I really like it looks great, and I like the subtlety because it doesn't have any like DVI or anything like that. I think that's actually going to help with the design of the water blocks. It looks really subtle and really clean. Not having a bunch of VRAM chips sticking everywhere because they're all under the die directly under here is really cool to see. So it just looks beautiful. So anyway, that's what it looks like. I love that.
Yeah, and their water blocks start shipping on the 14th, which is when Vega launches.
So they'll be out right away. So that means AMD worked with EK on this pretty heavily. Yeah,
and pricing is starting at for the actual water blocks starting at about $130 and going up to like $150 US.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah. Let's talk. Seeing as how we've talked about NVIDIA.
Yeah, a couple of comments real quick, and then we'll move on to something. So Justin says the power delivery system on the card is a nightmare for tree huggers. Well, I would argue, because of the specific terminology you chose, the power delivery system on Vega is actually incredible. But no, the power usage is ridiculous. I know what you meant. No. Well, okay, if it's anything like Vega FE, which is one of the nicest power delivery systems on a card that people that actually understand capacitors, VRMs, and all the different types of chips that are actually directly on those boards, which I need to learn more about myself, but it is one of the most impressive cards like ever seen. It's Gamers Nexus did a video on it. I can't remember the guy's name, but there's a guy that did a video with him. He went over the entire Vega Frontier Edition card, talking about just how overkill everything was, which tells you that, it needs a lot of power, so it kind of needs to be overkill, but also I'm wondering how good the overclocking is going to be. It might be really good if you can get like 888 pins.
Yeah.
And then, they were talking about the 390X a little bit, saying how it was so power hungry. Yes, the 390X was power hungry and hot, and some people complained about the temps. That's true. But
now the question is, with how hot it's been in Portland, if you run two 390Xs right next to each other, are you going to even feel the temperature difference?
Probably not, considering it's been 107 here today.
It was 102 in Gresham.
It hit 107.
Oh.
Like right outside my van, because my van has a temperature gauge. Yeah. So, I mean, it was ridiculously hot here in Portland today, guys. Oh, my goodness. But
it took me an extra 35 minutes to get home on public transportation because the Max just kept stopping for like 10 minutes at every stop.
To cool off, I'm assuming?
I don't know. They didn't really specify.
That's weird. Oh, man. And Richard's also saying he had a 390X and it wasn't too bad, but you prefer your 1060. Yeah. 1060? Well, I had a 290X and a 390X, I think. I think I had both of them. No, I had a 290X and then that's right. I sold it and went out to a 970. Yeah. But yeah, the 290X was same thing as a 390X. It was a beautiful card. I actually really enjoyed using that. It was a monster. The power was great, and I liked my 970, but they were about equivalent in power, so I was paying money just to get better efficiency and better driver support and stuff, and I kind of regret that decision because it was just a waste because I didn't see a performance improvement. But, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to some not AMD news since the first hour has been AMD.
We'll talk about their most direct competitor for graphics cards, since NVIDIA kind of did a direct response to Vega's compute.
Somewhat, yeah.
So NVIDIA decided to release a new driver update for the Titan XP2.
The XPP?
Yes, the XPP. That was supposed to give up to 3x performance in creative applications. Specifically, 3x performance in, I think it was Maya.
That's a big deal.
Now, 3x performance in Maya. There is a beta for the drivers. That being said, we don't have any numbers from any reviewers because not many of them have Titan XP2s. Because
not many of them have Titan XPPs, but also a lot of them don't have the software to test anyway for this kind of stuff.
I mean, there's a lot of...
Some of them do, like SolidWorks and Maya are easy to get a hold of. But
almost no reviewers got them seeded. Linus didn't get one seeded, but he got one to give away at his LTX. Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
Now, what we do have, though, somebody from the...
So we don't even know how the Titan XPP performs, right?
I mean, there's some reviews.
There's a little bit, but not much.
Yeah. And, because sometimes reviewers will pass cards around to one another. In order to get reviews out.
To get more reviews out. Yeah, that makes sense.
I know that Linus had to borrow an AMD card a couple years back.
Jeez.
But yeah, so what we do have is testing on the original Titan X Pascal.
Yeah, because the new one technically comes out in April of 2017, meaning it's already out.
Yeah.
But you can't really buy it.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain places
I'm sure
buy it.
you can probably buy it directly
Yeah.
from it. And anyway, continue. Sorry.
So what we have is performance increases on the original Titan X Pascal that are actually pretty significant. So throughout a number of different programs, this person on Reddit was able to get anywhere from 53% increase to so it was 53, 54, 72, 95 in SolidWorks, 107 in Creo, and in SNX. For some reason, they got a 654% performance increase.
I don't understand.
Off of a driver update. What? First off, that means the driver must have broke SNX, the original driver, so it wasn't performing correctly. Because there's no way software gets you a 600% increase.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's weird. It's just
hey guys, here's
like,
6 graphics
oops,
cards.
we put a wrong character in it and just completely broke everything.
Yeah.
Also, I want to respond to Richard said something. It's interesting how I've drinking 2 energy drinks. Actually, neither are energy drinks. This is sparkling water, flavored, and this is premium soda. It is. It's delicious. Oh man, it's so good. So no, I actually don't drink energy drinks. They bother me a lot.
I do, but that's because I'm a caffeine addict and I hate the taste of coffee.
I caffeine as well, but I coffee caffeine.
Yeah.
I don't use energy drinks for it. So yeah. No, I don't like energy drinks. A lot of the artificial sweeteners and stuff really bother me too. So.
But yeah, all in all, I mean, this driver update, it's
a big
certainly
driver.
interesting, and while Nvidia's not advertising gains for gaming, they also, for one, didn't advertise a 600% increase on
SNX.
On SNX for a previous generation Titan XP.
Yeah.
Like, they were saying
insane.
it's just for the current card. So, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, and also, this represents a significant change in how they're at, because originally they said multiple times the Titan XPP is not a gaming card. I think it was it Jay that was
Jay got
about
multiple
this?
emails, but now in this driver update they're calling it a gaming card.
Yeah.
And it's kind of pissing people off because Jay got multiple emails.
He was trying to get cards for Terry
Yeah, he was
Cruz's
trying
build.
to get he was trying to get 2 cards to use for reviews and for his gaming build.
For Terry Cruz's gaming
Or Ted Cruz's gaming, yeah. And they were like, "It's not for gaming."
Yeah,
why
so
is it
they gave him-
GeForce branded?
So they gave him 10
and why
PTIs.
are you now saying, "Oh, by the way, it's a gaming card"?
Yeah. But
Nvidia's marketing team is where they need to fix things.
especially on the consumer end, at least.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
Yay.
you want to talk about Intel?
Intel is making more mistakes.
Hey guys,
but,
let's make a profit. Oh, never mind, we don't want that money.
The last 6 months have been Intel fucked up, AMD leaks. Intel fucked up, AMD leaks on like all tech podcasts. Intel fucked up again.
Yeah.
Intel's showing up almost as much as Uber now in problematic stuff.
At least Intel stuff is straight business decisions, not other stuff.
Not rape.
Yeah.
So let's get to it. Intel is done with IoT. Let that sit on with you for a moment. They are not going to be making Internet of Things chips anymore. Ones they've already invested a lot of money
They're
into.
completely exiting the maker community.
Yeah, they're exiting. Yeah, completely exiting the maker community. Just sit on that.
Why? Yeah.
What?
So, like, for people that are wondering, like,
What?
so that you're looking at, like, things like the Galileo board, the chip from them called
Edison.
Curie, Edison.
Yep.
I mean, you're looking at things for wearables. You're looking at IoT devices. You're looking at all kinds of things.
of random things, and Intel's leaving. So this is kind of hilarious. So we all know Intel was really late to the mobile game and ruined that when it comes to mobile phones. Not when it comes to, obviously, laptops. They've got that in the bag. But they missed that, so they were kind of like, let's shift our focus to IoT because that's the next big thing in chips. Let's be ahead of the game this time. And right when IoT is about to take off, they go, never mind. We don't really feel like it. And I'm sitting here like, is it just like, are they like, oh, it's not profitable right now? Of course it's not profitable right now. It's not supposed to be. It's going to be profitable. Give it a year or two and it'll be profitable.
Well, and Intel's claiming that they will continue to support tomorrow's makers through education and community outreach programs.
Yeah. Oh my god.
In other words, they'll say, yo guys, maker's cool, buy other products because we don't care.
Yeah. It's Oh my gosh, it's sad. So, a couple quick things in the comment section. So, first off, Richard's saying maybe it's a sign of panic over Ryzen. I don't think so, because it's not directly related unless they're worried about having to shift funds to compete with Ryzen.
If they can't afford to keep a small team working on maker chips while they work on
other stuff, but
they've got bigger problems.
Yeah, unless they're trying to really dump a ton of money into innovation to
Which
just destroy
would mean that
AMD.
they're worried.
Which means they're really scared. So it could be, I don't really feel it's that. I think it's just Intel being dumb. And maybe it's Wall Street. It could be Wall Street. Intel is so heavily influenced by the stock market at this point. They commonly do stupid business decisions just to please them. And that's the moment you stop pleasing your consumers and people that are businesses, whatever it is, enterprise, the people that are actually buying your products, so that you can please the investors, is when a company starts to go downhill. You don't do that. That's a very, very, very dumb mistake to do, and you shouldn't try and please the shareholders. I think that's a very bad idea, because the consumer, the person purchasing, is the root of your business.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling though that Wall Street was just like, oh hey, it hasn't been profitable, guys, quit it. And Intel was like, okay, we will. So we don't want to lose our investment money, which is really stupid. Because it's something that they have to get early on.
Yeah.
Also,
it's been a wild ride for the maker stuff from Intel, because just a couple weeks ago, there was reports that they had pulled Curie out of health wearables and just moved it over to IoT, and now they're within a couple weeks backing out of IoT.
Yeah, right. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. Also, a couple other things. So Justin's saying at least we have Qualcomm to fall back on. Okay. Yes.
At least we have a bigger monopoly.
But yeah, I don't want more monopoly. So I agree with that, but also the competition's important, and I was hoping Intel would be competition here for things like Qualcomm, but whatever. Yeah. Also, Richard mentioned something. He said IBM lost it huge. They made tons of bad decisions, and then they were gone. A big firm can die if not careful. Funny story, IBM's still huge.
Yeah, they just
do enterprise stuff.
You
never hear about them. IBM is still massive, just not on the consumer side at all anymore. They are still massive in the server market, massive in the enterprise market, massive in the supercomputer market. They also announced plans and a proof of concept, and I think even potentially some chips for 5-nanometer chips. IBM's the big brother that's sitting back here saying, hey, we've surpassed all you little guys that are fighting, and we're just going to chill. Is how I feel about them. They're just sitting back there, and there's this argument about what they're doing with chips, and then IBM was just like, hey, here's a 5-nanometer.
For reference,
here, let's keep the competition going, guys. We have something.
Yeah.
So
IBM does absolutely nothing in the consumer space.
It's completely done.
And their market cap is it's less than Intel's, but it's within about 40 billion. Intel's is 172. IBM's is over 130.
Right, but when you consider how much of that just comes from consumer into Intel,
because think about it. Intel pretty much owns the laptop market right now.
Yep. So it's crazy. IBM is So when you look at it that way, I bet you IBM has more money if you take the consumer portion out of Intel's. Yeah. So that wouldn't surprise me. So IBM is still huge. Just fun to keep that in mind. IBM, I actually, they have made some incredible products, and I in fact will have a review coming shortly of a remake of the IBM Model M keyboard, one of the most famous keyboards ever built. Again, back in what was it? We have a little extra time, so we're getting off subject here. But the IBM Model M came out in, 1985. So in 1985 is when the original came out, using a buckling spring switch. It was basically the first mechanical keyboard that was really popular. Everybody absolutely loved it. It is a absolutely great system. Well, there's a company called Unicomp that's remaking them, and I finally decided to buy one. They're like $85. They have some disadvantages, and they're not good for gaming, but boy, is the typing experience incredible. I mean, they made this keyboard in 1985. The same exact design today beats out everything else still, so it tells you something. Now, again, the disadvantages are it's a little bit heavy. It's not very, because it's heavy, it'd be a little bit stressful for gaming. You can't backlight these. In the traditional way, you could have an underglow, but you can't backlight the individual
RGB
keys.
We're not allowed to
yeah, exactly. That's right. And in his apartment, you're not allowed to have products without RGB. So, but yeah. So anyway, just fun little fact there. So I'll have a review of that keyboard coming soon. But hint, it's incredible. incredible, and everybody should buy one.
Yeah.
So
and what's nice about these, as Richard mentioned, that they were huge.
And worse
Unicomp
noise.
has smaller ones.
Yes. So the one I have is just a standard 103 key. So they're not that massive. It's pretty good sized. But there's the traditional keyboard layout in my eyes too, like what a lot of the old beige, like tan keyboards used to look like. The way they swoop and stuff is so much more comfortable to type on. And back then they didn't give a shit about looks. They focused purely on ergonomics. And I feel like keyboard companies have started to move away from ergonomics and caring about looks so much that they're forgetting how nice it is to type on a traditional style keyboard. Just the style alone makes a difference, and then the switch is incredible.
You should have gotten the classic 104 with the trackball.
The little nub in the center? Yeah, right.
No, this isn't a nub in the center. This is a trackball.
Oh,
at
it's
the
an
top corner.
actual trackball.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't even know they made that.
Yeah.
And yes, Richard also mentioned the noise is worse than blues. Yes, it is. I love it, though. Just don't use it for streaming. Don't use it for gaming. Mine's going to be my keyboard for my workstation. I've got a Cherry MX Brown G-Skill RGB keyboard that'll be for my separate gaming machine. What was that?
I don't like browns.
I know you don't like browns, but they're good. I bought them because they're good. They're good in between. Yeah. They're really good in between.
For me,
I prefer to have just reds for just a gaming machine.
The tactical actuation, because like that's why I like blues, is because of the tactical feedback or the feel. I just don't notice that much on browns. It's to the point where
part of the noise does help. The noise helps.
Yeah, it's not enough of a noticeable difference for me in feel. Like even if I'm like headphones on so I can't hear anything, I can feel a significant difference between blues and browns, and it's like at which point I might as well use reds or membrane instead of browns because I can't feel it.
Yeah, I understand that. Browns in my eyes are a good.
I wish they could find
hybrid,
a way to make something with more of a feel while reducing that noise.
They have made ones that are heavier that you can feel more.
Yeah.
The clears and the whites, which are both very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, so they're heavier, and then you can feel it more. I'll go ahead and show you guys what this keyboard looks like really quick here, just as a fun little teaser.
Show them the trackball one, too.
Oh, should I?
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like here. Let me load up a full-size image of it. That's the one I actually got there, and except mine doesn't have the Windows key on the right side. It just has the one on the left. Very nice keyboard, though. Mine is also the brilliant white, so it has whiter keys, not these kind of gray ones. And then if you go to, let's see, what's the classic trackball one? Here we are. See, mine has the brilliant white keycaps. You can see on that one there. But yeah, right here, $115. A little more expensive, but you have a literal trackball.
Yeah.
So that's pretty great.
Go to that image.
Ah, that's a better image. Yeah, that's pretty great. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh man. Also, guys, is the audio timing seem correct with like the way I'm doing, like when I say something and then move the mouse or whatever, or does it seem like what I'm saying is coming like after or before? I want to know because I have a delay set on our audio mic here on our Blue Yeti because there's a delay coming from the input of the Elgato, and I don't think I delayed the screen cap, so it might be slightly off. So let me know actually if the screen cap is if it seems like I'm talking about stuff different.
Yeah. Let's, while we're waiting on a response about that, talk about some other Intel stuff.
Yes, real quick, one more comment to respond to. So first off, it says Richard said it looks great. Timing is fine, is what Justin says. But then Richard also says, why are they not good for gaming? You use blues for gaming. Well, I'll tell you one thing. First off, backlighting, because I think a lot of people like to game in the dark, including myself. I prefer to game in the dark. I prefer to work with light on. So that is one thing, but that's not a huge thing. The big thing is just they're pretty heavy. And
backlighting is a non-issue. I mean, it's literally just a manufacturing choice.
No, they can't backlight these.
Those, I'm saying blues.
No, I'm talking about why are these bad? Yeah, because he's saying he games with blues fine.
Yeah.
And I'm saying why these are bad. The buckling spring. So backlighting's one thing, but the other thing is they're really heavy. They're quite a bit heavier than blues actually, which I prefer. It's a little bit strains you a little bit, but you get used to it, and it helps you. I think having a heavier feel to it helps you not bottom out and just use the portion that clicks a little better. But that does make it a little bit harder to game on. There's quite a bit of travel distance, so the response time's not going to be quite as good. Mm-hmm. So there's quite a few reasons. It's not really designed for gaming. It's not terrible. It's not going to be as good as blues, and especially not as reds. So, okay, so now let's talk some other fun stuff.
Yeah, so if you have Z270 and you want 6 cores for Coffee Lake, you once again buy a new motherboard, which is tradition for Intel. It is tradition for Intel. Motherboards generations are, it's 2 chipsets and then you buy a new motherboard.
Correct. Yeah. But it's a little bit like because Z270 is still the same socket as Z170 though, and I think that's their excuse here is we technically have done the same platform with 2 series.
That's always what they do though. It's
right.
2 and then a new one, 2 and then a new one. But
they usually just have don't they usually just have not a revision of a chipset? They just have the chipset and then 2 CPU variants. So they revise the chipset here.
Yeah.
So it feels almost like since there is technically a new chipset, they should tack on the next one onto it. But and they could. They're just doing this to be assholes. Because I mean Z270 or 170 was a huge update to the chipset because it can use PCI Express 3.0 lanes built into the actual chipset that connects through the DMI link. If you want to see a video on that, I have a video about DMI link on my channel, so you guys can look into what that is. But anyway.
Yeah. Meanwhile, AM4 is expected to last through 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Well, AMD has been so good about that in the past. They had AM3, and then when they needed something new, they announced AM3 Plus. It's still AM3.
Yeah.
It's just...
I hope that going forward, because my biggest problem with AMD as far as their motherboards went before, is even with AM3 Plus, they were still really lacking in modern features.
Yeah, no, AMD has been behind so bad. Yeah. And they're still a little bit on AM4. They're not at all on X399, but X370 is still a little bit behind.
All I'm hoping for is come 2020 with AM5, we get all the nice new features. We get Thunderbolt integration because by then it will be publicly available. Yeah. And mainly Thunderbolt. That's the biggest thing I want.
Thunderbolt's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some dedicated PCI lanes for Thunderbolt.
Yes, please. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think the biggest limitation actually to X370 is PCI Express lanes on board. You can't have 2 M.2 NVMe PCIe by 4 cards installed at the same time while still having your 16 lanes from the CPU be used for dual GPUs.
Yeah. So
you run into an issue there. I did want to mention some more stuff about Vega in a moment, by the way.
Don't do SLI.
Yes, I want to. Speaking of multi-GPUs, it's actually a perfect segue into something I want to talk about Vega that I meant to bring up but forgot because I didn't have it in my notes.
Good job.
Interesting. Shut up. Interesting thing. So AMD is still claiming, they didn't say this officially, but they've talked about it in the past, saying that they will continue to support 4-way GPUs. And depending on how their drivers are, depending on how game optimization works, and depending on how DirectX 12 and Vulkan, which technically could also do, those 2 APIs could do 4-way on NVIDIA, just not using SLI.
Yeah.
But technically you're still looking at 4 GPUs being possible. And so Vega might actually be able to destroy the highest end gaming setup you could do with a 1080 Ti or Titan XPP and SLI because you're looking at 4
we'll
of them.
See, because
again, it depends on scaling. It depends on scaling, and it also depends on if you can find a 2,000 watt power supply or not. But what I wanted to also say that's interesting, part of the reason I feel like there maybe is some credit to that, and this is all speculation, but it's the fact that if you look at most of the X399 boards, most of them so far, I think all of them actually, the 4 big ones that have come out with them, are spaced for 4-way GPUs. And you look at most X299 boards, they're spaced for 2 or 3-way.
Yeah.
Right? Which tells me AMD might be telling these manufacturers, hey, quad fire Vega might actually be a big thing. Very, very, very like straight speculation from me. This is myself. Nobody else is reporting on saying that's interesting or anything. I just personally think it's interesting that they're all perfectly spaced with their PCI slots to do 4-way SLI or 4-way crossfire, quad fire. Just an interesting thing. So maybe we'll see something special there. Yeah, maybe if you have a 1600 watt power supply, you can do it.
You pull a Linus and you put one power supply in there, and then. Or that might have been Luke, but you put one on top.
Yeah, or you can just pull a Fantex N through Primo and just have 2 power supplies next to each other.
Yeah. You get one, just any of the cases that support 2 systems, but you actually just use it for 2 power supplies.
Yeah, yeah.
And then hard drives. For you, it would be 2 power supplies, 4 graphics cards, hard drives, hard drives, hard drives.
Yeah, yeah. I still love that. I almost, this is just a joke, but I bet you what AMD did with Vega, they were like, you know what, we could make it more power efficient, but Corsair and Seasonic and EVGA have been begging us, hey, please make something that uses enough power so we can sell our 1600 watt power supplies. And AMD was like, fine, we'll make it suck more power so that you guys can sell more power supplies. Because, I mean, now we're getting back into the age where over the last 2 years, everybody started saying, hey, you don't need more than 1,000, like, realistically, not more than 750, whatever. And all of a sudden, we're back into the, 1,600 might be useful.
I mean, only if you're one of the 2 people that's going to buy 4.
Everybody's going to do it. No.
Everybody that's a 1%er.
Yeah, no. And then Richard also mentioned something. SLI seems to be on its way out. Okay, so there's kind of a funny story about that. So thank God, but thank not God.
See, we have very differing opinions on multi-GPU setups, though.
Well, no. I think you're going to agree with me on this, actually. Okay. So, I like multi-GPU setups, but the way that they've been implemented for a long time has been crappy, and you get diminishing returns. I would have liked it if NVIDIA had kept allowing it, so to speak. Even if the performance was shit, some people would like to do it to get 2 FPS. Whatever. There's going to be the enthusiasts that want to do it and have it not crash. But that's not what I'm getting. That's not what you're going to agree with me on. So, even though SLI is on its way out, and Crossfire probably eventually is going to be on its way out, that's because older APIs can't use multiple GPUs seamlessly. And the whole point, one of the whole major ideas behind DirectX 12 and Vulkan is that they, in theory, should be able to take any GPU from any brand and put them all together and it should work. And it's because of the way the APIs function. I don't fully understand why, but in theory it should work, and NVIDIA hasn't directly said, but people are speculating that they're kind of killing off SLI to basically be like, well, yeah, we're not going to need it soon, so we're not going to keep dumping money into it. We're not going to need it soon. Soon you'll be able to put 6 Titans if you want to in your PC, and they'll all work on a game.
I think the biggest difficulty with that is going to be not so much the API, but how the API handles the fact that the interconnect's probably not going to be fast enough.
Yeah, and that's a potential issue. So, well, the GPUs themselves don't have to be connected together.
I know,
the way
but
the
if
APIs work, but yeah.
If they're, in order to properly display everything, you need super low latency, because if using an extra card adds latency for some of your frames.
Yes, it does, and that's part of why you get really bad frame timing when you do multi-GPU. In fact, two-way SLI, NVIDIA has done a lot of improvement on getting two-way SLI to have good frame timing, so it functions more like one GPU. Because if frames are being delivered with different gaps, things look stuttery even if you're getting 300 frames a second.
And specifically for 2 GPUs, and I think that this also was why NVIDIA kept 2 GPUs around when they're phasing out their version of SLI, is VR.
Yes.
Now, they've talked about this before, and it's not really a mainstream thing yet, but I think part of it is frame timing. They talked about the idea of having 2 of the same graphics cards used for VR. One would render for each eye. That way you would literally get 2x performance.
Yeah, exactly. You literally would, and that makes sense. You just need the frame timing
for them to properly be in sync. Because you're not plugging in 2 HDMI cards or HDMI ports, one for each eye. You're doing full-on just one cord.
Yep, exactly. And yes, Richard used the proper term, micro stutter. So frame timing, isn't really what causes a problem. It's the way of measuring it. But micro stutter is what happens when you have bad frame timing, when you have the gaps between when the frames are actually being delivered that causes the issue, and that's because of latency. So, yes, thank you for that. I had forgotten the word micro stutter, actually, because I haven't done multi-GPUs in forever, because, of course, I haven't. There's no reason to, for me personally, but I'm not gaming at high res yet. I prefer...
Why not?
I prefer high refresh rate, okay? My gaming system that'll be done shortly after the workstation's finished is going to have a 240 hertz panel.
Yeah, but why aren't you Linus with 16K?
He needs 16K, 240 hertz HDR.
OLED. On a projector.
Right. Well, laser projectors will be the eventual answer to OLED for projectors. Maybe. Eventually. Well, they already use it in theaters. Like IMAX and stuff like that are using laser.
Yeah.
And they're incredible. They are the best images you can possibly in any sort of consumer space. They're amazing. And it's not really the consumer space because it's a theater, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the proper laser projectors. Anyway, that's a subject.
The only downside I see with it being handled on a projector is either you're going to have projectors that can project onto black and still hit the brightness they need to, or you're going to have white, at which point you won't have infinite contrast like OLED.
Well, there's truth to that. They can, with laser projectors, you could make them project on black.
Yeah.
Or almost black.
But while hitting HDR levels of brightness I know it's
should
going
be able
to be possible.
Yeah. In fact, I believe it is with like IMAX ones and stuff. Consumer stuff, we're probably looking at like 5, maybe 10 years before that'll be a thing. That's the eventual long-term future, though, because you can turn off an individual pixel in that sense. So, yes, projectors are interesting. Let's see. So one more bit of Intel news. Samsung has surpassed Intel as the world's biggest chip maker. Maybe Samsung's on the decline. Maybe Intel's on the decline. Maybe Intel decided to not go into IoT, and so they're on the decline.
It's more so
wait.
mobile.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's more mobile related for now. It's going to be a bigger gap once Samsung starts jumping on more IoT stuff.
Yeah.
And Intel just goes... Intel's focused on desktop and server, and it's like, come on.
Think about it. For everything other than the most recent couple iPhones, it's been all Samsung hardware. Now it's Samsung hardware and Intel modems.
Yep.
Which is why Apple's getting sued, is because of Intel's modems.
That's great.
So they've got Apple's phones, they've got Samsung's phones in all of the world except for the United States, because Samsung doesn't want to deal with the modem issue, so they just use Qualcomm chips.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's funny that they just gave in. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
Even though Samsung's chips, let's be honest, they beat Qualcomm's.
Yeah, that shows you how strong of a monopoly, though, Qualcomm has in the U.S.
It's frustrating. On the mobile market,
doesn't use their own chips because Qualcomm is easier to use, easier to deal with carriers.
It's all
cheaper.
about the radios, and that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's an issue.
When we first
it's all about the LTE radio.
First saw Samsung phones start to use Samsung chips in other countries, the Exynetek chips, they didn't use them in the U.S. because Samsung didn't have Qualcomm LTE.
Yeah,
LTE in general. Qualcomm was the ones that made LTE, so in the U.S. it's a lot harder for anyone else to use it.
And until a replacement for LTE comes out, it's pretty unlikely that's going to change.
Yep.
And that's the monopolies are frustrating. Like Samsung should be able to buy like LTE licensing for radios from Qualcomm. They should be able to pay a licensing fee.
But it would just be increasing the cost of the device too much.
Maybe so, because I know that AMD pays Intel licensing for x86, the instruction set. That's different. That's different. That's an instruction set. But I'm just saying. So I would assume that Samsung probably could have the option to pay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Now, though, what I'm wondering is, like, from my general basic knowledge of patent and trademark law and all that, because LTE would be considered an essential patent in the U.S. because it's at this point, if you're selling a phone it doesn't have LTE, it's not gonna sell. Qualcomm would have to offer it at some level of a reasonable price. That being said, we don't really know what that reasonable price would be.
Probably a big number.
On top of that, the other problem is that while that needs to be offered at a reasonable price, the issue that Intel's running into is things like power management and efficiency of that LTE modem.
Yeah.
Those aren't considered essential, so those don't need to be offered at a reasonable price.
Yeah.
And therefore could be driving up the cost to the point where you might as well just use Qualcomm.
It's a little depressing.
Yeah.
It's a little depressing, to be honest. I don't like
But
monopolies.
hey, if you're in any other country, buy an Exynos chip phone.
Yeah, they're better. They really are. They do perform better. And
generally use less power.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Samsung has been the first repeatedly to lower processing nodes. Mm-hmm. They've been really good about that. Until IBM was like, here, 5 nanometer.
Yeah.
Because IBM. Also, Richard made a good point. Intel is going to get hit hard when Windows on ARM takes off. If, I'd say, rather than when, but likely it will.
Not if, because we're already seeing ways to handle, and Intel will make some money from this, but we're seeing ways to handle x86 on ARM, and it works very well.
Yeah, correct.
And we've seen
ARM is great for mobile.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's necessarily great for high performance like desktop computing and stuff, and I think that I don't
but
know
we'll
if it
see
ever will be.
laptops, consumer desktops.
Yes, correct.
We're already seeing ARM actually build up
servers.
presence in servers.
Yeah, but for fairly specific applications.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. Is x86 and x64 have been around so long.
Anything where you need a lot of cores, but they don't have to be super powerful.
ARM
could
exactly.
Be advantageous
correct.
for because
it's
you
great
can
for like
just
databases and stuff. Yeah, correct. So it's just. I think, x86 has been so versatile and robust in what it's been able to do and the types of applications it can do and all do good. I think it's going to be a while before it's phased out on high-performance computing.
Mm-hmm. We'll
like
see,
high-performance desktop computing
ARM
and stuff.
has made gains that are absolutely unheard
it's true.
of
And I think
it
might be the eventual future.
Yeah.
And AMD's been heavily invested in ARM. Mm-hmm. They've been looking into making ARM function together. So.
And look at how well ARM chips are handled on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
You're able to, in very, very short times, port games from x86 consoles to a small mobile ARM processor.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's ridiculous. Also, Richard says laptops will be ARM 100%. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Well, the power efficiency is a huge thing. ARM is just
as soon as you have the consistency of applications being able to run.
Yep.
And
Yep.
part of that is actually being helped by Microsoft focusing so much on the Windows Store. And we're starting to get better applications on the Windows Store.
Which hopefully, because it's a pile of garbage right now.
Yeah. It's been getting a lot better.
It's been improving, but I'd say maybe not right now, but a couple months ago it was a pile of garbage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still like this big collection of garbage. Hey guys, can you be careful over there? You're bumping the mattress. It's turning the light on and off. Thank you. It's hitting the light switch. Yes.
I think that's really it for Intel. I hope they don't fuck it up.
Intel's gonna fuck it up. They've been on a rampage spree of how do we ruin our company.
Yeah,
I mean the
I don't
server
get to
market,
leave the
like
maker.
Xeon Scalable was just like, hey guys, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Backing out of IoT. Hey consumers, we don't care about you. We care about Wall Street though. Intel's it makes me a little sad, but it's also like this is how capitalism works, and when other companies start to beat you,
start making x86 chips.
Nvidia, yeah, please, we need more competition in that
If
area.
I could buy an
Intel needs to make GPUs, Nvidia needs to make CPUs, and then
if
we'll
I
have
could buy an all Nvidia PC, I'd throw my wallet at them.
because you're a fanboy,
huh?
but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean I just bought Ryzen, so
This is true. This is true. Yeah, so
and I'm considering Vega.
You didn't actually say that on the podcast live. I bleeped it out.
Yes, I did.
No.
You edit me.
Yeah, I'm gonna edit
Okay.
you. No, okay, so we have one more really important piece of news, though. This is
So who needs projectors when you can have an 88-inch 4K TV from Samsung? This is their Q9 TV. So it's part of
is it QLED or OLED?
It's quantum dot.
It's QLED. Okay, yeah.
Quantum
So
dot.
QLED.
I'm not
quantum
calling
dot.
it QLED. It's
Well, I mean,
quantum dot.
it's QLED. Come on, QLED.
So QLED, for those that are wondering,
It's
is
quantum
literally
dot
just
LED.
quantum. Yeah, it's quantum dot. But Samsung wanted it to sound like OLED because OLED's the big hot term right now in TVs.
I think it's a simple abbreviation. Like, because I mean,
Okay, but
you could
other
also say
they're not the
OLED.
only company doing.
True, but you can
And
also
OLED
say
was the first one to do that.
Yes, but you could also say OLED is organic LED, right? So
Yeah.
it's organic, and then it's like, oh, they shortened it to OLED to sound better. Well, yeah, they shortened it to
but
QLED to
then-
sound better.
But they did this. Let's be real. Nobody's gonna see that and not compare it in their minds to OLED.
I mean, I think you're right, but I don't think that was necessarily their intentions
I
because
guarantee
no,
it was.
what else are you going to abbreviate it as?
You don't need to abbreviate it. No one else did before Samsung.
For consumers, you need to abbreviate it, otherwise they can't. They don't.
Sony was selling
think
quantum
about
TVs just fine.
Okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I don't know. I like the term QLED, so I'm going to say QLED.
Okay, but it's
But also,
quantum,
it's quantum dot.
because that way you can accurately compare it for the other quantum dot TVs. That's why I say quantum
Well,
dot.
yeah, but you can call the
because
other ones QLED too. You can call them QLED.
No, QLED is trademarked.
It's
Samsung.
trademarked by Samsung, but you can still call them as an interchangeable term. QLED, quantum LED.
No.
QLED.
Fake news.
They're quantum. They're teleporting
Okay,
LEDs.
back to this. Back to this 88-inch Q9 TV. I want to take a second. I want you guys to guess how much this is going to cost.
It's 4K. Okay. Yeah.
4K HDR.
I'll show you a picture once he tells you the price, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Go ahead and take a guess on cost. I
We
see a
want to.
couple
Well, wait a
comments
moment,
first.
please. Put in your comments how much you think this TV costs. It's an 88-inch quantum LED, quantum dot 4K TV.
Yeah.
Also, back to something Richard said, he thinks when companies get too big, they're more prone to fail. Yes, I think there's truth to that, and Intel has become so bloated and huge, they don't know what to do with themselves
Or
at this point.
another good example, everyone thinks, oh, Netflix is doing well. Oh, they've got a lot of great content. Yeah, they're $20 billion in debt.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
know,
lot of
yeah.
debt.
Well, Razer's a little bit in debt too.
Yeah, but
60
Razer's about to
million,
open an IPO.
but yeah, that'll help a lot. Yeah,
$20 billion is a
yeah.
lot to come back from.
Yep, but
10K? 10K?
okay, hold on. Before you continue, I want to brush. Yes, though, I think that's how capitalism should work when there's proper competition. Not Comcast, Time Warner, AT&T, but when there's proper competition, Intel's now getting fucked over by the competition. So that's how it should work when you don't have massive monopoly problems and
Amazon.
Yes, that's true. But whereas like you look at like Intel, for example, like they don't have a geographical monopoly.
Yeah.
right? And so that's a thing there where it's like Comcast has a geographical monopoly. You don't have the option, even though there are technically other options, and that's part of where the government disconnect on net neutrality is they go, there's other options, there's all these ISPs, but it's like not everywhere.
And part of the problem too is in DC in DC there is multiple options.
There's a bunch, yeah, correct. I think there's four
Something
major
like
ones.
that.
I think. Anyway,
okay. So as far as price goes, so we had a guess from Richard of $10,000. You were only halfway there. $19,999.99.
it's a $20,000 TV.
Yeah.
That is approaching the cost of a Model 3.
Yeah, especially if you look at it in California with the tax discounts, tax credits, you're looking at about $25,000. And so it's $20,000 for this TV. If you want Geek Squad protection, you're looking at, and I love the phrasing from The Verge, a meager $2,100.
It's ridiculous. Here, so I'll put it up on screen. This is a Verge article, full credit to them. But yeah,
for the price of the Geek Squad protection for this TV,
oh my,
you could go buy an OLED TV.
Yeah, it's insane.
But it would only be 55 inches. You couldn't use it as a wall in your home.
Yes, and also I saw a comment about the weight being potentially really heavy. I don't think it's going to be ridiculous, but yeah, it's definitely going to be heavy. Yeah, so it's expensive. I'm sure it's amazing, but goodness gracious, if it was an OLED, I would be more accepted to the price. Now going back to the comment section.
Oh, it's got 3 USB ports.
Woo! Going back to the comment section, so Richard also said he finds the Netflix
I found the weight, by the way.
Debt. Okay, how much is it? How much does it weigh?
Product weight with stand, 164.2 pounds. Product
That's
weight
heavy.
without stand, 160.28 pounds.
The stand weighs 4 pounds.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's pretty heavy, 160 pounds. But it's maybe not as ridiculous as you thought. I mean, we did have these things called rear projection TVs that, weighed like 300 pounds. So, yeah. But Richard mentioned he finds the Netflix debt baffling. So, yeah, what's this thing about Netflix debt? I haven't heard much about this.
So they've been borrowing, for one, they are a significant amount of the internet traffic. Like,
right,
a crazy amount, which means they need a lot of servers.
Yes.
They're also, because so many companies want to make their own streaming service, at this point, no company wants to be on Netflix, because why only get a little bit of money from Netflix when you could get $10 a month yourself? We're looking at seeing, essentially what we're likely going to see is, everyone wanted to be able to pay your cable provider for channels individually. Well, we're going to get that, but unfortunately at $10 a month per channel.
Okay.
That seems like where things are going. Fox wants their own, ABC wants their own, everyone wants their own, and so Netflix has been ramping up their own content
to keep up and to keep
that costs a lot of money. I mean,
that's a long-term investment, but
some of their shows are like tens of millions of dollars an episode.
It doesn't surprise me, but geez, I didn't know, because the thing is, Netflix being subscriber-based too, though, they can calculate how quick they can make their debt back.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. They can statistically, because it's a statistic, this is how much money we make every month.
Yeah.
We can statistically go, we're going to make this many billion or whatever per month.
So they've got $4.8 billion in long-term debt and $15.7 billion in just other obligations, which could be anything else.
104 million subscribers.
Yeah.
So they have over $1 billion. Would that be dollars coming in per month, so to speak?
I'm feeling lazy, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
At $10, so yeah, $10 a month, they're looking at $1 billion a month in revenue.
In revenue, correct.
But
operating costs.
A lot of money for servers, a lot of money for.
So that's employees, a couple of years worth of payment.
Assuming that they stopped production on shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
The question is, can Netflix keep spending money like that and still be around? That's a complicated question. Yeah. They might have to raise prices or something.
I think it's more so gonna depend on how they handle. I think that they're going to get more choosy on the type of content they produce, and try and find ways to cut costs.
They've been producing so much stuff.
One of the things that we're seeing as a change, for a while they were super interested in buying already popular series and bringing them back. Something like Arrested Development is a good example.
Yeah.
They're pretty much not doing that anymore. I think that this came up around the time Agent Carter got canceled, where they said they are more so interested in looking at their own content.
Right.
And now we see with things like Young Justice, everyone was hoping Netflix would pick that up. Or Futurama, people wanted that to be brought back.
Yep.
Not going to happen because Netflix wants to make their own shows.
Yeah. Yep. It's interesting. Also, Richard had a couple of comments here. So first, the USA is poorly regulated. In some ways, yes. In some ways, they're too regulated. So yes, poorly is the proper word. In some ways, there's not enough. In other ways, there's too much. We're not the best at that here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not the best at that here. There's more regulation than there should be on a lot of small businesses, and not enough on big businesses. But I'll leave it at that. We don't try and get too political on this show. Other than net neutrality. Yes, $20 billion, and yeah, he's saying House of Cards cost $100 million.
Yeah.
Are you talking, I'm assuming you're talking for the entire season, or was that overall? I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, that's a good point, too. Yeah, they could, Netflix could get bought out. When you're in that kind of debt, companies start risking being bought out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean...
I wouldn't want them to be bought out.
I mean, it just depends on who.
Yeah.
As long as it's not Amazon.
Yeah, right. Jeez, Amazon's already owns everything. It's very hard to regulate it though, because the one of the problems with Amazon is they don't really they're not the only one of really anything.
Yeah.
The thing is they compete. There's still other companies competing with them.
So for House of Cards, it was $100 million for the first 2 seasons. So $50 million a season.
Wow. I'm still worried if House of Cards is going to get renewed.
It will.
I am assuming it will, but it hasn't yet.
They don't always renew it right away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But
they have to be more picky with that because of things like this.
Yes. Makes sense.
I think right now the only safe shows that are being produced by Netflix are the Marvel shows, and that is because Marvel can afford to take a little bit of a loss on them to build the cinematic universe up.
Yeah.
With how much content they have going on right now, you get someone to watch Daredevil, and there's just teases for other stuff. It might pique their interest in that other stuff.
Yep.
So they can kind of shift around viewers.
Yeah, totally. I still haven't seen all of Daredevil.
Okay,
don't
show's
hurt
over.
Me.
You gotta
Please
go
don't
watch
hurt me. Don't hurt me. Richard's saying, also imagine if Comcast bought Netflix. Oh, God.
I would literally rage quit this reality.
You're just done with the internet?
Just done with this reality. I would leave.
Okay, this doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
We're out. God, that would be so bad.
I would pull a Nibbler in Futurama and just exit the universe.
Just
bloop. Yep.
Gone. Yeah, please, let's not let that happen. Also, the AT&T is merging with Time Warner, and it's probably going to go through.
Yeah.
Because of certain political things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, AT&T is unfortunately probably merging with Time Warner, which we were so worried about Comcast merging with them, and now AT&T, it's okay.
Speaking of mergers, Sprint wanted to merge with Charter, and Charter's just like, no, we're good.
Thank God. Sprint's garbage. Charter was like, we don't need garbage.
No,
sorry.
see, I want them to merge with a cable company because I do not want them to merge with T-Mobile.
Oh, gosh. Yes, that'd be bad.
Yeah.
That'd be bad.
Hey, Sprint, please stay away from T-Mobile. We don't need your
Just
crap.
Go die in a hole.
No,
I know people.
Around.
I know people that use Sprint. Don't die in a hole. I don't want them to not have service.
I mean, they already have Sprint.
Hey!
I used to work at a Sprint call center. I know how their service is.
Well, you worked at a Sprint call center and had T-Mobile.
Yeah.
So it says something. Yeah.
I mean, most people there didn't have Sprint.
Jeez, didn't you get discounts?
We got discounts on every carrier because we weren't a Sprint-owned call center.
Oh, right.
We were Xerox.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Okay.
And Xerox does business for all of the carriers.
Right,
so.
okay.
Well, there are no employer discounts on T-Mobile anymore.
Wow.
Other than, I think, maybe government.
I don't think we've talked about the Model 3 on any of our podcasts.
Oh, okay.
But we have 10 minutes. Might as well talk about it.
So the Tesla Model 3's final details were shown off. Pricing-wise, let me pull something up. I want to get all of the details.
All of it, right. Yes. I'm impressed. It's so minimalistic that it's actually bothering some people, but I love that about it. Because A, it's supposed to be fully autonomous in the future, but B, I like the minimalistic look in a car, I think, is ideal in my eyes. Yeah. It looks gorgeous.
So what we're looking at for the Model 3 is we're looking at its starting price is $35,000. This is before tax incentives. Now something
by the time you get one, those tax incentives might be gone though. Yeah.
From all we know, federal tax incentives will be used up by that point.
Yep.
Because they're a certain amount per car.
Right.
So
correct. Yeah.
Once that car gets sold a certain amount, it's gone. California, for example, I think has their own. Other states implement their own tax incentives all the time.
Right. It makes sense.
But what we're looking at, $35,000. That's for 220 miles of range.
Which is really good range, honestly.
Yeah.
For that price, that's ridiculous. I mean, most people don't drive more than 200 miles in a day, let's be honest.
Yeah. We're also looking at, some of the standard features included with that are automatic emergency braking and side collision warnings, 8 airbags, electronic stabilization or stability and traction control. It's got a 15-inch touchscreen, which I'll talk about more in just a second.
It's so nice.
Onboard maps and navigation. Wi-Fi and LTE connectivity, so you can pay for cellular service and get Wi-Fi integrated.
Talk about the warranty, too,
I will
when you
in
have
a
a
second.
chance. Okay.
I'm just going through the list in order.
Cool.
So for those that know how the Model S works for getting into your car, essentially you have this little fob that you carry with you, and when you get near the car, the door handles open. That is not how it's going to work on the Model 3. They will still have the same door handles, but it will not be proximity-based. Instead, on the pillar next to the door is where I believe it's going to be. There's going to be a keyless entry system where you have a little card or a chip or something on your keys that you tap to it, or you can tap your phone to it. And part of this is going to be...
That's budget compared to the wireless ones that you leave in your pocket.
Also, on top of that, this is going to be absolutely vital for something that Tesla wants to implement when autonomous driving is available for their self-driving car network. Think about it. The idea of an Uber-like service for the car. Well, how do you stop some random person from getting in? They have to validate it by tapping their phone to unlock the door.
That's sensible. And even before that becomes a big thing, you want your friend to borrow the car, and you can... I'm sure they'll have a feature you put in their phone number, and they download the app, and you go, hey, yeah, they can use it. And then click, and they get into your car and can use it for the day or whatever.
Yeah. So that'll be nice. You have some voice-activated controls. You've got 60-40 split folding rear seats, which is standard. As far as the warranty goes, so you have a 4-year, 50,000-mile limited vehicle warranty, and then you have an 8-year with either 100 or 120,000-mile battery warranty based off of which range option you get. So the 100,000 is for the $35,000 car. The 120,000-mile battery warranty is for the long range, which
that's an incredibly good warranty, too. Because that's set up for average drivers. Average drivers is about $12,000 a month. So average drivers, well, not 12,000. Sorry, what? Oh my goodness,
12,000 miles a month.
Whoa, sorry, no, 12,000 miles a year. Yeah. Give or take. So that 8 years adds up to being approximately...
Not even 12,000.
Yeah, exactly. It adds up to being normal, hey, you use your car as a normal user, and you'll probably be fine for the warranty for the life that you'd like to keep a car. Most people get rid of them after 100K miles anyway. Yeah. So it's the perfect set. And then at that point, you'd probably you'd have the car paid off. You can't get more than a 7-year loan on cars right now. Yeah. So then you can I'll just buy new batteries and my car's good to go still if you want to keep it longer. Yeah. So.
And then as far as the other options that we have, so long range battery is going to be one of the most popular ones.
$44,000.
$44,000 total, so a $9,000 increase. This brings you from 220 miles of range to 310. Yep. This brings you from 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds to 0 to 60 in 5.1. You have 140 mile an hour top speed and 170 miles of range in 30 minutes using their supercharged network.
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah. You pay for the supercharged network now.
Yes.
If you're a Model 3 user. All S and X users still get it for free, correct?
No. So with the Model S and X, you get it for free if you are referred to buying it from an owner.
Okay. Interesting.
If you're not, then I believe you get a certain amount for free every year, and then you have to pay for it otherwise. Something to note, though, so the electricity costs that you'll be paying for this are way less than you pay in gas. It's just pretty much what your standard electricity rate is in that state. So like in Oregon, you're looking at 12 cents per kilowatt hour.
Yeah, which is fairly cheap. Fairly
Yeah.
cheap, yeah.
So then the other options we have for upgrades, there's a premium upgrade package, which is $5,000. You're looking at premium heated seating and cabin materials throughout, and that includes, so if you've seen the images of like the wood front paneling inside the car, that's part of the premium upgrade package. You're looking at a glass roof. You're looking at USB ports for every passenger.
It's quite a bit for $5,000.
Rear
honestly.
seats get USB ports. Front seats get them.
Do the rear seats get heating, or does it does not say?
I would assume.
I would assume rear seats
I'm not
do
sure.
too. But
So you also get 12-way power adjustable front seats, steering column and side mirrors with custom driver profiles.
yeah,
Which is pretty cool. You get a premium audio system with more power, more tweeters, surround speakers, and subwoofer. You will probably get it just for that.
yes, just for the subwoofer. That's the
yeah.
only reason. I do plan to buy a Model 3. I'm really hoping to actually get one 2019.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I hope I make that, but that is actually a plan I have.
Yeah.
So, yay.
And with it being Tesla, by then it'll be even better because they don't hold back stuff for future models.
No, they just update
incremental
theirs.
upgrades,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. They try and put all the future hardware they can in one car. And
Yeah.
then boom.
And speaking of that, so all Model 3s include all of the hardware needed for fully autonomous driving.
Not the advanced cruise control, fully autonomous.
Yes.
The hardware.
So there's a few things. So by default, you get the safety features, which is the automatic emergency braking and side collision warning stuff. And that's going to be on a much better scale than most cars that have that type of feature because of all of the sensors available for self-driving.
Yep.
This safety features take advantage of that. If you want better functionality, you can pay, the first tier is $5,000. That gives you the current available self-driving features in Teslas. Essentially, advanced advanced
We're getting
cruise
low on
control.
time, just FYI. Okay.
Advanced cruise control.
Yeah.
So you get like lane guidance, you get auto.
You can set the distance between you and the person in front of
Yeah.
you, and it automatically will change its speed and even stop. You get automatic lane keeping. So I mean, it's like on the freeway autonomy, basically, is what it is. Yeah.
And then from there, for an additional, I think it's an additional $3,000 on top of that, you get fully autonomous
I thought
driving.
it was another
Well,
$5,000.
it might be.
Okay.
You get a fully autonomous driving when it is available. You don't have to buy it right now, though. That's the nice thing. So you can go in there, spend just $35 or just $44 or just $49, depending on what you want. Get those features, and then, let's say
because you could spend $35 and then get the advanced cruise control later.
Yes, yeah.
Right, because it's all software.
Or let's say you want the premium upgrades, but you don't want the long-range battery. You spend $40,000 now, and then let's say once you pay off the loan, then you drop $5,000 on the enhanced driving.
Yep.
And then once it's available, you spend the extra money on the full autonomous.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised too. Say you spend $40,000 on the premium short range one, right?
Yeah.
And then you wait, and by the time, if you wait long enough, you probably can just spend $5,000 and you get the full autonomy. Because when the full autonomy comes out, I have a feeling you're going to be able to just buy that for $5,000. You don't need the separate
I think
package.
it's going to be. I think it's a tiered thing. I think ultimately,
They might have
if
to
you
build
want the
on
full
each other.
autonomy,
You have to pay the 10.
you
then.
pay the full price.
Okay. Interesting. Maybe that'll change though. I mean,
So
that's
yes, it
adjustable.
is $3,000.
$3,000 for the. Okay, that's still not bad.
Yeah. So you're paying $8,000 for full autonomy. Your car is your driver. Your car can also drive around, and whether it's for other people or for profit,
Yeah.
can be done and all of that.
Yeah, it's really
so there's
cool.
a lot of flexibility. It's not just $8,000 for you to have your own driver. It's $8,000 for your car to do whatever you want whenever you want.
Yep.
So
It's really cool. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to see reviews of it and stuff. A couple of comments here. So Richard, by the way, thank you for staying around the whole time, Richard. Appreciate it. Guys, you realize at some point people will be banned from driving. Insurers will enforce that. What he means is like they'll be like, hey, you have to use an autonomous vehicle. Sorry, you can't actually drive. Because
question
less
with
cars,
that, 'cause
less accidents.
I also agree with that
Yeah, I know. Sorry if the stream's messing up a little bit, guys. Hopefully the audio
It
is
looks
still
like
good.
it's
Not
more
sure.
on my computer than...
No, it was happening up there
Okay.
too. I can see. So I'm not sure what was going
but
on there.
One of the things is, well, you won't need insurance.
Yeah, eventually
which
we
the car
wouldn't-
insurance
yeah.
industry isn't going to want that. No insurance industry goes down without a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, we don't know
I mean,
yet.
you'd still in a
It's gonna
sense
be-
need. Well, like it would
it's
have to
gonna
be a
be
thing that like
dependent-
Tesla would have to pay for.
It's going to be dependent on how our laws work.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it'll be insurance for the manufacturer
Right.
if our laws work like they work in a lot of countries in Europe where they're actually already working on the laws, unlike the U.S. where we'll work on them maybe 20 years after people have it.
Yeah, we're good. We're good at that. We're
Mhm.
good at not,
Yeah,
coming out with laws for future tech.
yeah. But like you look at, I think it's like
ISP's still a problem.
Yeah. I think it's like Germany. They set out like a list of 10 basic rules for autonomous driving.
Uh-huh.
One of them is that the automobile manufacturer is responsible for what happens to the car when it's driving autonomously because they made the software that's driving autonomously.
Yeah, right.
Makes
right.
sense.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, yeah, you'll look at, Tesla will probably have their own insurance. But, I mean, it's just going to be through the manufacturers. And I highly doubt it's going to be at the same
It would depend.
cost.
It would still depend on the fact because the Model 3, you can still drive it.
for now.
And some
But
people will probably choose to still
The
drive
idea is that eventually,
Well, eventually you won't need to.
Well,
but you
hang
still
on.
probably could.
Eventually, there's going to be so much self-driving that the only accidents primarily will be from people, at which point people are a liability and therefore will not be allowed to drive on most roads or all like public roads.
Yeah, right. Which kind of sucks because driving on back roads is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could also see
The
something
state
like,
of cars is about to change, and this
Yeah.
is why, like, I want a new car now, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to go buy a petrol engine, not futurely autonomous vehicle. It doesn't make sense for funding a
Yeah.
brand new car right now.
Yeah, as Richard said,
And it has
pressure
no
groups
ejector
will-
seat. No ejector seat.
Pressure-
You asked about that.
Pressure groups will want it to because of road deaths. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be eventually we're going to see people driving cars go away. It's a matter of when.
Yeah, which does partially suck because I enjoy driving a
Yeah.
vehicle. It's fun. But, I mean, racing will still be around, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just that it's kind of like, darn.
Mhm.
But then again, it's safer for everybody, So,
Yeah.
and you can go get drunk and go home still. So
Or
we
you
won't
can
have, we
you
won't
can
have
edit
intoxicated
you
acts.
can edit a video while on your way home from work on a laptop.
I do deliveries for work. I don't know if I would still have a work.
True.
No, this is my future work, I hope.
Yeah.
But I love where I work right now. I really like
You could edit videos while on the way to the unemployment office.
it. yeah, right, exactly. No, I love the place I work. I love doing deliveries. So, yeah. Oh, I don't think any of them watch this,
My
but
roommate
if you do,
will need
no,
a
I
new
love
job.
it. Yeah, right. We know somebody that's a trucker and he's going to not have a job because of autonomous vehicles.
Yeah, like
Free market. Market.
Hey, shut your mouth. That's not what I'm not what I'm getting at. Oh man. I think we're about done though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
One last thing on the Model 3s.
Mhm.
As kind of expected, there's a lot of pre-order cancellations. I think it was like 68,000 after the Model 3 announcement.
Okay.
That's good news because there was a big backlog of people that wanted cars.
Oh, we were worried you wouldn't be able to buy them until 2020.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can get it in 2018.
If you
Tesla
pre-order
still
now, if
has
you
well
reserve
over
now.
100,000 pre-ordered.
Yes.
They're still going to do fine.
Tesla says
They
between
priced
12 and 18 months is when you'll get it
Yeah.
if you reserve now.
they priced the car with the intention on selling as many as they could manufacture, and that price will continue to change to just their manufacturing capabilities.
Yeah,
They
so the
won't
price
price
could go
it-
down.
Yeah.
Probably will.
Once they can hit 500,000 a year, it will go down a little bit. I'm assuming 35K will be the same starting price, but the $9,000 upgrade will go to 8, which will go to 7.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
also,
Or
you're
we
paying-
could maybe see them tack 5 off of
Yeah.
the
You're
base.
paying a $1,000 premium for any paint option other than black.
That's acceptable.
Yeah.
Paint's really expensive.
Yeah,
And
and
then,
again,
like,
they're
the
trying
whole
to
idea-
manufacture as
yeah,
few
exactly.
SKUs
Well,
as
the
possible.
whole idea for them, is let's make this as simple as possible to save as much money as possible so that we can get this car out
Yeah.
to everybody.
and then
so-
eventually they'll cut the costs.
Yeah, and so that's why they're not making 7 different variants of it. You
Yeah.
know, it's hey, long range, yes or no. Eventually, all-wheel drive, yes or no. Premium package, yes or no. And then autonomy, yes or no.
Which autonomy they don't even have to manufacture separately.
Correct. Yeah,
It's
so that's just software. Correct. So I mean, really, realistically, there's 4 manufacturing options and then paint.
Yes.
So there's 5 things. Unlike look at any car today. Now, part of the reason behind that is actually the car sales is a very unprofitable area.
Mm-hmm.
They make very little profit off each car. That's why there's so many incentives like, hey, here's new floor mats, or hey, premium audio upgrade. Oh, well, you've got to spend $2,000 for that. But don't worry, you get rain sensing windshield wipers with it too. It's all about trying to make up some of that profit. So by doing this, it's going to streamline things even more and make it so that they're not going to be as expensive to manufacture, and it's going to end up being simpler.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny though, because the Model 3, like, everybody's just going to be driving the same car eventually. We're all just going to be little pods.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I think that's it for now. I gotta get off here so I can go to bed for work. But 0.3% dropped frames. I'm pretty happy with that for a
0.3.
That's not good enough. Yeah, we dropped over 1,000 frames, guys. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Rage quit.
Press the power button. Just done. No. All right, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Though this again was WordCast number 28. We should have 29 next week. Things should be consistent here for a while now. Again, I know we skipped a couple of weeks. We had internet issues one week, and last week we had nothing. We were just totally unprepared, and that was mostly my fault.
Yeah, I'll give you that credit.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, and again, as I've been saying for a while, guys, I've been working on a whole lot of stuff so that I can start doing 5 videos a week. It's just a matter of time. It's my goal. I'm aiming for it. I'm working really hard to get there. Mm-hmm. So please forgive me for not having some content, and not even my standard weekly upload. As well as especially skipping this. And also, I just wanted to mention anybody, Mirko is still around. He's been very, very, very busy and going on trips and stuff, so he hasn't been able to make some videos, but he has some upcoming videos. You might see one from him Friday, if not this week, probably next week. So, yeah. Oh, my buddy wants me to pitch my... so, WordTech has another channel, too. We have a gaming channel. Oh, you're going to come say hi?
So, hi. Am I in it?
You can see your...
I'm Alex from the WordTech gaming channel. Come watch us. We're fucking hilarious. Have some fun. Enjoy us gaming.
Yep. There's a link in the description, so you guys check that out. Yeah.
Buy us.
It's not a bio, it's a description.
Link in the bio. Our merch. Buy our merch.
So much, we have no merch.
Buy our merch like a God church.
We have no merch. Stop it.
I see myself pointing as delayed.
We're gonna get sued for not actually having any merch. No.
But that's copyright by Jake Paul. Okay.
We're not. No shots fired here, guys. No shots fired here.
Except to Jake Paul. Shots fired to him.
Join us for some memes. Join us for some laughs.
It's a good place. Yeah, WordTech Gaming. It's a bunch of random stuff.
Where do I go?
There's also a WordTech vlogging channel that's random stuff that I do with my buddies. He's in some of that. Oh, yeah. There'll be some stuff soon on there. So check out all 3 of our channels. I think the vlogging one's linked in the description, but if it's not, I'll fix that.
No, you won't.
Anyway, I probably won't. Anyway, everybody, thank you guys, and thank you, Richard, for staying here the whole time, and I appreciate you saying that you'll try and be here every time. And thank you so much for being a patron. I really, really, really appreciate that. That means a lot. So shout out to Richard here for doing that. That means a lot to me. Yes.
You're the man.
I don't know if you guys could hear him, but he said shout out. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead.
Jake is awesome.
All right, stop in this.